You did everything right this year. You started the seeds, hardened them off, and watered deep. Now one zucchini plant is dropping more squash on your kitchen counter than your family can use, and half of it goes soft before you decide what to do with it. That is not a gardening problem. It is a plan problem. Nobody taught you the order. Recipe blogs still recommend canning plain zucchini in ways current extension guidance no longer supports. Social videos push sun pickles that MSU Extension says are unsafe. Everybody has a trick. Nobody gives you a playbook. This video does. 6 steps in the order they matter, all extension backed. And step 6 is the move most gardeners hate: taking a knife to a plant that is still producing. Number 1. Grate tonight, freeze in 2-cup bags. The portion rule that saves your December bread from tasting like wet cardboard. You just walked in from the garden with an armful. 6 zucchini, 3 of them the size of your forearm. The kitchen counter is already full from yesterday's pile. The first time, I did this wrong. I grated a whole basket into 1-gallon bag, threw it in the freezer, and felt smart. December came. I made bread. It tasted like wet cardboard. Here is what the recipe blogs skip. Grating and freezing is not the hard part. The hard part is portioning. Most zucchini bread recipes call for exactly 2 cups of grated zucchini. If your bag holds 4 cups, 6 cups, whatever, you are thawing more than you need. And refrozen zucchini turns to slush. 2 cups per Ziploc quart bag. That is the number. 2 cups is a practical kitchen portion, not an extension rule. Use the amount your own bread recipe calls for. 1 bag equals 1 loaf. Zucchini has active enzymes that keep working after you freeze it. Slowly they chew through the cell walls. 6 months later, you pull out a bag of mush. Michigan State Extension says steam blanch grated zucchini for 1 to 2 minutes until it turns translucent. That is where the enzymes shut off. Cool it fast, drain hard, then pack. Grate tonight, not tomorrow. Zucchini that sits on the counter 3 days loses texture before you get it to the pot. Grate, blanch, drain. Pack 2 cups. Flatten each bag against a cookie sheet. Stack once frozen. Black Beauty. The bush variety most home gardeners grow. Gives you 6 to 10 pounds per plant. At roughly 3 cups grated per pound, 6 to 10 pounds works out to about 9 to 15 2-cup bags before trimming and draining. This bag is for bread, muffins, and cake. Soup needs a different cut. 2 cups every bag. That is the rule. Number 2. Fridge pickle spears. The safe middle path between freezer bags and full canning. If you have seen the sun pickle videos on Instagram and thought about trying it, please read this before you do. There is a middle path between freezer bags and full canning. Refrigerator pickle spears. No boiling water bath, no jar processing, no pressure canner. Cut your zucchini into 4-inch spears. Pack them tight in a quart jar with a couple of dill sprigs and 2 smashed garlic cloves. Heat 1 cup of 5% vinegar, 1 cup of water, and 1 tablespoon of canning salt until the salt dissolves. Pour the warm brine over about 3.5 to 4 cups of vegetables, cover, and refrigerate straight away. Oregon State Extension says refrigerator pickled vegetables need 1 to 3 days before they are ready and should be used within 3 months. The hidden variable in every pickle is temperature. Sun pickles look pretty in the window, but Michigan State Extension calls the method unsafe by name. Their bulletin puts it plainly. The yeasts that ferment cucumbers safely cannot survive full sun jar temperatures. What survives instead is what you do not want anywhere near your food. E. coli, botulism, listeria. That is the piece most guides leave out, and it is the piece that matters. Refrigerator pickles skip the whole problem. Cold slows the microbes. 5% vinegar drops the pH low enough that the bad ones cannot get a foothold. Cold and acidic, or nothing. These keep 1 month in the fridge. Not shelf-stable. Do not move that jar to a cupboard because it looked nice on the counter. And if it ever sits above 40 degrees for more than 2 hours, dump it. Fridge. Always fridge. Number 3. Dehydrator chips at 125 degrees Fahrenheit. The snack the store bag cannot beat. There is a bag of dried veggie chips at the grocery store that runs more than what a pound of fresh zucchini costs at the farmer's market. Your zucchini plant makes at least 6 of them per season. And the store version is not seasoned any better than what you can do at home. I stood in the snack aisle at Whole Foods last winter, holding a bag that cost more than my lunch and weighed less than my phone. I had 80 ounces of the same thing in a mason jar back home. Here is how the math actually works. Zucchini is about 95% water, so expect the finished batch to weigh far less than the fresh harvest. Weigh 1 tray before and after drying, and use your own real yield. Utah State Extension says to cut young zucchini about 1/4 inch thick, or up to 1/3 inch for chips. Then dry at 125 degrees until brittle. A mandolin saves your fingers and gives you consistency. 8 to 12 hours, depending on how humid your kitchen is that day. Too much heat can harden the outside before the center dries. Low. Steady heat gives moisture time to escape. At 125, the water leaves evenly from the inside out. Crisp all the way through. Store in a jar with a tight lid. Keep it dark and dry. And USU says you have a full year of quality. I was reading their bulletin one October afternoon and hit the words, 1 year of storage. 3 plants, about 20 bags of chip. All winter snack, sitting in a jar for a fraction of what a single store bag costs. No dehydrator? Only use an oven if it can hold about 140 to 150 degrees. Leave the door open 2 to 3 inches with airflow. If your oven cannot stay that low, skip the oven method. If turning 1 overgrown zucchini into shelf-stable chips changed how you look at that pile on the counter, subscribe and hit the bell. I post 1 practical garden fix every week. But there is one method the recipe blogs skip entirely. It is not chips. It is the bag you will pull out in October when the first cold rain hits. Number 4. The October soup bag. Blanch 3 minutes, freeze flat, use it by June. Not everything needs to be grated for bread or turned into chips. Some of it should go into the soup bag for October. The October soup pot is where this bag pays you back. Oregon State Extension is the one that spelled it out. 1/2-inch slices go into boiling water for 3 minutes. Straight from the pot into an ice bath for another 3. Drain hard. Pack with 1/2 inch of headspace. Freeze flat. Blanching does the same enzyme-stopping job here, so I will not make you sit through the lecture twice. 3 minutes stops the clock. Where most people mess up is later. They pack a bag, throw it in, and forget it. Frozen zucchini holds high quality for 10 months per Utah State Extension. After that, texture goes downhill fast. Label the bag with the date and the weight. If you froze it in August, use it by June. Not July, not August, June. For soup, chili, casseroles, anything where soft texture is expected, this bag is gold. Skip it for grill or sauté. Label the date. Use it by June. Number 5. Read the white powder, the mid-August signal that says stop, not spray. By mid-August, your plant does not look right. White dust on the older leaves, yellowing edges. Your instinct is to grab the fungicide. Stop for a second. Powdery mildew on late-season zucchini is not a failure. It is a schedule. Every backyard grower in most of the country sees it around the same time, and it shows up because conditions are ripe, not because you did anything wrong. The fungus behind it is Potosphaera xanthe. Spores ride on air currents and land on your leaves. They take off when temperatures sit between 60 and 80 degrees with a day-night humidity swing. In much of the country, powdery mildew shows up mid to late summer. Judge your own plant by its age and the weeks left before first frost. Your bush-type zucchini has been producing hard for 6 to 8 weeks by then. Older plants often meet powdery mildew late in the season, but the disease can still damage leaves and fruit. The real question is how many harvest weeks remain before frost. I used to spray fungicide the moment I saw white dust. 3 seasons of that before I read a University of Minnesota Extension article one August afternoon and hit a line that stopped me cold. It said to let the disease take its course and enjoy the last few summer squash. That was it. 3 years of jugs of fungicide, and Extension was saying, leave it alone. There is a threshold from Yukon IPM that helps you decide. Yukon IPM uses 1 infected older leaf out of 50 as the point to begin fungicide protection on a late planting you still want to carry. In a backyard garden, past 6 weeks of harvest with frost close, another spray may not buy enough time to matter. One caveat. This applies to a plant that has been producing for at least 4 weeks. If your plant is young and PM shows up early, that is different. Prune the worst leaves, and next season plant a resistant variety like payroll or sebring per Oregon State Extension. And once that white powder spreads, the last step gets harder. Deciding whether that plant still deserves the bed. Sometimes the smart move is to stop. Number 6. Pull the plant, sow the radishes. The extension-backed move most gardeners cannot bring themselves to make. This is the move nobody wants to make. You walk out to the garden, take a knife to the base of the plant that fed you for 6 weeks, and pull the whole thing out. Extension gives you permission. University of Minnesota says, feel no guilt in getting rid of a powdery mildew-infected plant. That is it. No hedge. No, let us try one more spray. Just pull it. That empty patch is not a loss. When you look at that spot, do not see a dead plant. See 3 or 4 weeks of growing season you are giving away. Somewhere between mid-August and your first frost. There is time for another crop to come up and feed you before winter. Zucchini is a heavy feeder. It pulled nitrogen out of that soil hard for 2 months. Do not assume the old squash bed is perfectly balanced. Clear the residue, rake the mulch, and add a light layer of finished compost if the soil needs it. Follow a soil test for fertilizer. Succession works because radish and spinach mature quickly in cool weather, not because zucchini leaves a magic nutrient mix behind. Direct sow the seed. 3 options that fit the window. Cherry bell radish, 22 to 30 days from Burpee. Bloomsdale long-standing spinach, about 45 days per University of New Hampshire Extension. Burpee lists buttercrunch at about 65 days, so it only fits where the frost window is long enough. Radish is the shortest option. Count backward from your local first frost date and leave a small weather buffer. Of everything on this list, this is the one I would not skip. UGA. Extension horticulturist Bob Westerfield says, 40 years of growing squash taught him to keep the garden modest and stagger plantings. That is the lesson. Stop asking one old plant to occupy the bed forever. One honest limit. Zone 3 and 4 gardeners are past the window for lettuce and spinach by mid-August. Skip the succession and sow buckwheat or clover as a cover crop to hold the soil through winter. Pull the plant, plant the radish, move on. 6 steps. 15 minutes tonight to grate a bag before it goes soft. 20 for a jar of fridge pickles. Half a day of dehydrator time you do not watch. And 30 minutes at the end of it all to pull the plant when the mildew shows up. From the pile on your counter to the empty bed with radish seed already in the ground. This weekend, do just step 1. Grate the biggest zucchini on your counter into a 2-cup bag. Steam blanch for 90 seconds until it turns translucent. Label the bag with today's date and lay it flat in the freezer. Do not try to do all 6 steps at once. Do 1. Next Saturday, do step 2. The week after that, step 3. You have until the first frost. Your zucchini plant did the hard work all summer. The rest is on you. Do not let it end in a pile of soft squash on the counter.